Good afternoon, everybody. It's always been refreshing whenever you hear the management gurus. Thank you, Jaffa. It was really refreshing, the session. And the sort of a presentation which Jaffa has just made, in my point of view, speaks about everything we need to know, provided you can practice it. And that's being the manager in the business since last more than 15 years. We've been just trying to practice whatever the management gurus used to tell us. And it's been very, very tough. It's not that you can always practice the sort of thing which is being, say, communicated to you. It seems so simple in understanding, but really tough in executing. But without just having that sort of background knowledge, we also cannot go ahead from where we want to go. I really thank you very much for inviting me to this session. And the sort of a topic which has been given to me is to talk about M&A. M&A has been a topic of hot discussions the world over. But it has just started in Nepal since last, I would rather say, 2 years or so, rather 3 years. When I was with the Global IME Bank, I had the opportunity to rather merge or acquire 6 companies. After 4 years of my term was over, I moved to Sunrise Bank. It's only been 2 years in that bank, and I have only been successful in acquiring 2 more banks. So why then, the question arises, this M&A becomes a necessary for the corporate growth, or for what purpose the M&A actually takes place. So from the very start, for any M&A activities to proceed ahead with, we need to know the basic objective. In every business, all of the businesses would like definitely to grow and to stay in the market, or be the market leader rather. In that entire process, M&A may come as a savior, as a very good sort of a support for your business to grow ahead with, or it may be a big failure as well. So just before considering any sort of a M&A, my sort of a humble request to everybody who will be going through this exercise is, as Zafar has already again said, why? That why has to be answered in M&A as well. If you are really trying to take over or merge with anybody, the why question has to be really answered amicably and to the satisfaction of all the sort of a people or the stakeholders concerned. In Nepal, if you have been just watching the M&A activities through the last 3 or 4 years, this is basically happened in the banking sector. So since I also belong to the banking sector, and I've also got sort of experiences in M&A activities in the banking only, I would rather sharing my experience with you, how we could just go ahead with that M&A sort of activity so successfully. And as you have seen, Global IME Bank, which when I did take over that bank, it was a only 12 billion sort of a actual balance sheet size company. And I left that bank after 4 years of my services with that, with a sort of a balance sheet size of 60 billion. Similarly, in Sunrise, when I did take over, the balance sheet size was say 28 or 29 billion. It has only grown to now 60 plus billion. In the sort of the growth process which we've been just able to achieve, M&A has been instrumental, but not the final sort of a, say for example, sort of a contribution, it was not the final one. It's only a collaborative sort of activities which we have, say, then taken as a best sort of a solution to move ahead in the market. In the banking sector, the basic objective of the M&A is got to, rather basic, I would say. One is the business sense, and the second is the capital increment. Business means if you want to really grow ahead, how you can just best achieve your business goal, as well as how best you can just make a sort of a larger reach in the community, try to just service the entire country at once. And the third will be, say, in the business sense, will be the profitability itself. Reaching a certain height with a within a very limited given sort of a time period, will always be easier through the merger or acquisition. And the capital, increment in the capital, the basic purpose of merger in Nepal nowadays has been considered basically as the tool to increase your own capital base. Rashtra Bank has required the commercial banks to increase their paid-up capital. Well, I think you can understand. There's a difference between paid-up capital and the net worth of the company. So Rashtra Bank, irrespective of your net worth, Rashtra Bank simply requires all the commercial banks to increase their paid-up share capital to 8 billion by the coming July. And as everybody can just sense the sort of difficulties in there, previously the commercial banks were having the paid-up capital of only 2 billion. From 2 to 8 billion, it was really a tough job to be accomplished with. So merger and acquisition maybe, or it has been a very sort of a successful endeavor, a successful venture, which the banks have just taken up. And the other thing is, once you take up any company or merge with any other company, other banks, it's not only for the capital. Along with the capital, you will also be getting some sort of business volume as well. Say, take for one example, if you really try to grow as a bank, it will take you 10 to 15%, maximum up to 20% growth in 1 year. So with the merger and acquisition, if without the merger and acquisition, if you really try to increase your capital base from 2 billion to 8 billion, the sort of business which you will otherwise require to service your capital will be next to impossible. So merger and acquisition, it has provided you sort of a scope to increase your business as well. And when we talk about which way we want to go, say merger or acquisition, these are two different, in my point of view, phrases. When you merge means the two companies are merging with the new memorandum article and the new name maybe. So the article of association and the memorandum association, the charter of the company will get changed. Acquisition means the acquired company will acquire another company without changing its own articles or memorandum. That means the company's sort of existence will stay, the other company will die out. In the merger, both the companies will die out, only one company will stay, and the new company will emerge. And you'll be just say, you might have just heard a lot more things in the merger and acquisition. There are a lot more acquisition sort of practices going on in the industry rather than the merger. One basic, say for example, reason for that one is when you acquire, your company will be, the date of registration will remain at the original one. So for example, if a bank is established in 2060, even after acquiring another company, the date of registration will still be 2060 only. But they are acquiring another company. They are remaining in the market, their certification of registration will remain. But if you are merging, both the company's registration will be, it will simply be die out, and the new registration will take up. So, and if you are, say, a little bit aware of the new BAFIA, Bank and Financial Institutions Act, which has come out in the market, with all the BAFIA, in the terms of, I think, 10 years from the date of establishment, the promoter's capital can be changed into the general public category. So here the matter lies. All the merger and acquisitions, if there is not the merger, that not the acquisition, it simply become, say you are going with a merger, then your date of registration will become new. But if you are acquiring, your old sort of a date of registration will remain. So you'll still be then eligible for converting your promoter share into general public share pretty sooner. So these are the certain, I'm just simply trying to tell you about some legalities or the requirement of the regulators as well, whenever you will just considering some M&A. The basic M&A, the sort of problem which, in my point of view, is the management first. Before the M&A takes place, is the sort of an agreement or sort of your own comfort zone between the promoters and the management. The promoters meant the board and the other promoters. They need to agree what they are just really trying to do. And once they agree, then the sort of issue will simply pass on to the management. And when it comes down to the management, then the sort of making the whole sort of M&A process more successful, that will be really a very, very tough job. Particularly when, say, organization, the staff from the two organizations will be just talking about their M&As, they may be just expressing their own dissatisfaction, there's some sort of a fear factor, we'll be just playing around. And that will be a very, very much killing sort of aspect in the whole organization. Even that will simply be spreading out to the organization who is acquiring. Because if, say, for example, I can just tell you one live example. If we acquire a company, the management of that particular company which we acquire, if we are going to accommodate them to the dissatisfaction of your own people in your one company, then your one management team, they will start not cooperating with you. That is sort of the actual happening, actual sort of the incidences which I have gone through as well. So the corporate culture, which is, say, different in two different companies, might also be a very challenging task to be, taken care of. The basic thing as a manager, during my all the life of all the examples of, as I said, during the merger and acquisitions, what we have done is, even the merger and acquisition takes place, we normally visit each and every branches and meet each and every staff members of another company. And we simply try to explain them why you are merging, what would the sort of benefit, how they will be accommodated in the new company, what sort of the benefit they'll be getting in it. And before doing that one, then you communicate with your own management, with your own staff, why it is necessary, why it is we are just going ahead with this sort of thing. And once they understand the sort of the benefits or the adjustment in the staff management, then they will start cooperating with you. When they will understand that by simply taking over another company is not going to harm you anymore. It's rather going to be a growth in their business prospect. It's rather going to, say, help you in some other aspect as well, without having any sort of impact in the staff management. Then it will not be a big problem. Then upon, say, immediately after the post-merger situation will be a little bit difficult in the sense that you have the data migration, this and that, all processes will be there, mapping and the data migration. But again, the comfort level of the staff, in the both sides, that also will matter. How you are going to manage a branch which has been otherwise managed in a different name company. So normally, the placement of the staff, blending of the staff between the two, say, water companies, that will be helping out a lot. And when we just go ahead with managing those sort of things, communicating your one sort of understanding, your one corporate culture, and your one aspiration from the acquired company or the staff who've been just joined in your company, that will really become more important. So I always used to, give some sort of preference or importance that my colleagues or in the management, top management level, they travel a lot. And we also convene a lot more trainings so that the sort of a communication, sort of a interaction program with everybody becomes much more easier and smoother. So getting the people to know each other. The sort of differences which I found, say, for example, if I had a new person, he'll be simply coming to join the company without having any other sort of a feeling. But if the matter is about the merger and acquisition, they will have a different sort of feeling. Even if a slightest, any sort of incident, which otherwise doesn't, say, make any sort of a sense in the company, the slightest incidents will, sort of maybe giving them some sort of a, feeling that the sort of inferiority feeling, rather, I would say, that we've not been given the space in the new company, we've not been, say, treated well. And the amount of that sort of feeling, when it spreads out throughout the company, is really going to be very, very much difficult to manage with. So even before that starts happening, it becomes our obligation to communicate with each and every staff, tell them what exactly we are, say, trying to do, the sort of the objective which we have got, and which we assume and inspire to achieve through the merger and acquisition. That sort of communication is the greatest part of the successful management of the M&A. And the business growth, that will come automatically, as I said. But how you are going to, again, pre-plan or strategically move ahead with the new fresh business coming in. Say, I have got one experience I can just tell you. When we acquire a finance company, the sort of the rate of deposit in that particular finance company is much more higher than which otherwise the commercial banks were paying. So once you acquire that one, it's for sure that the deposit holders will start going away with that. So they will simply just trying to withdraw the money and try to place the same money in another finance company for want of the better the deposit interest rates. So how you are going to stop that sort of a spillage in your business? That also need to be given a very, very thorough, in my point of view, attention. And for that purpose also, you need to prepare your own staff people. The bank is totally a service sector. And unless and until your own staffs are very much, aware enough to say, for example, stop the spillage of your deposits or the lending, then otherwise the business, the sort of a growth which you have aspired to, will not be just remaining with you. So this is a very sort of a managerial sort of a challenges coming along with the M&A, particularly when two different sort of categories of the banks and finance companies are merging themselves. So these are the certain things which, in my point of view, we have learned rather through the practices and also good management. I wouldn't say a good management skill we have got, but we have the people with whom we can communicate. We have been communicating, and we communicate with them well. We eventually even hold sort of a symposium like this, as well as the training sessions on a weekly basis in all regions of the country, in the central region as well. The basic purpose is not telling them anything, but listening to them and just trying to share what is the basic purpose of the organization going through forward from there. So it's maybe, as I said, I've gone through a lot more M&As. So far, it's been all successful. So now, when you have got certain amount of successful stories to be told, then you feel that you've been successful in managing all the sort of stuff. It should not be that way. Every merger and acquisition will have a new challenges coming in, new challenges with the promoters, new challenges with the staff, new challenges with the customer. So that has to be looked into more closely, be patient. And I would, again, rather, before closing my presentation, I would rather, again, borrow from the Jaffa. Always try to ask why for any sort of actions or you've been just taking up, and the sort of a strategy or a collaboration, whatever sort of thing you think that it will be better and it will be, serving the purpose of your organization. Organization wants growth. Merger and acquisition is the fastest way of growth, rather, I would say. And for that purpose, whenever you are trying to grow too much fast, there are also impediments coming in on the line. Thank you.